Welcome, everyone, to episode 7 of Bozzelli's TV, the most interesting wine show on the internet. And if you don't already know this, it is the most interesting wine show on the internet because we consider wine a food. So since our inception, since our debut episode, we have lined up nothing but heavy hitters for you guys, thanks to Hailey, Rocco, Feraci of Republic National Distributing, our perennial special guest on the show. Let's all clap for Hailey. She's done so much to help make the show a success, and we're super appreciative to her. And I forgot to introduce myself. I tend to do this. I didn't want to do this today. I said, Mike, you got to introduce yourself. I'm Mike Bozzelli, and I was going to say, I'm probably going to do this because I love these wines so much. I actually tasted them all in a pre-tasting. And I was like, Mike, remember to introduce yourself this time. So, okay, that's what I do. So, honey, yes, that was wine on my breath. It wasn't a cough drop the other day. Thanks to my friends from Delicato, these awesome brand ambassadors. We have Jackie Polis and we have Hailey, Allison from Delicato. Welcome to the show. And as you know, if you do watch my show or our show, Daniel Sexton's not here today, by the way. Daniel's busy with a big order for our wine shipping site, casewinelife.com. So good luck with that today, Daniel.
We have to make do without the beer guy.
We have to make do without the beer guy. But if you do watch our show, and I know you do, you know that I'm biased about Italian wines. And the same applies to Italian winemakers, like our guest today, the Delicato family. The story starts with Gaspare Indelicato, the patriarchal founder of the company, immigrates from Italy, from Sicily, Siciliano, from the island. He came through Ellis Island, ventured around the States, ended up in California, planted some grapes in 1927.
1924.
1924, I tried, not good with numbers. So 1924, and the rest is history. Manteca, California, I think is where the winery is based, but the rest is history. This family now owns Box, Black Stallion, Noble Vines. What am I missing?
Three Finger Jack.
Three Finger Jack right in front of me.
Stoneleigh.
Potential category killer that they just entered into a partnership with the largest wine producer in New Zealand, Stoneleigh. And it happens to be also the number one Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand. This is huge category here, category killer that we're going to be tasting today. I'm really excited about meeting with these winemakers, because if you Google Indelicato, the name of the company is Delicato. They may have anglicized it to make it a little easier to say or not, but if you Google Indelicato, and the I think third generation is now running the company, and the Indelicato kids are running the company, you'll get this guy, Sonny Red, Joe Indelicato, a.k.a. Sonny Red from Donnie Brasco. This is not them. These are good people. They're not mobsters. They're winemakers, and they're really awesome. And Mike is notorious for his long-winded introductions. I will end it here. We're so grateful to have Hailey to be in her home again. And I'm going to ask Jackie and Hailey how they got into the wine business, as I always do, and how they ended up with such a illustrious winery like Delicato.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Mike. You are absolutely spot on. We're so excited to be here sharing wines with you all. So the Indelicato family is actually, we are just recently entered into our 4th generation being. So it might not have been online because he is just running around. I know that it is really exciting to have such a long family history still involved. Part of the reason why I decided to work for this company too is having that family connection. So Mike, you asked how I got into the industry.
Yes, very interested.
And family. So I grew up in the wine industry. My dad sold wine my whole entire life. And like every college grad, you say, what do I want to do? And you say, I don't want to work with my parents. So I didn't go into the wine industry. I graduated from school, Virginia local, so went to Virginia Tech. And I went and sold soda, which is very different from wine, but still really excited to be in consumer packaged goods, doing some different things. And about 2.5 years ago, I found the Indelicato family, looked into their history, and kind of said, this is where I want to be if I'm going to go into the industry, I want to work for a good company, good family owned, and fell into this position. And I've loved it every single day since, getting to meet new people, new restaurants, new customers, and people out in the market. And it's been a fun place to be, and I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be working hand in hand with Hailey, and I'll let her kind of get into her story as well.
Welcome, Hailey.
Thank you. I'm actually about 5 weeks on the job.
Newbie.
So I'm super excited. So the reason, or the way that I got into wine, was I did dessert manufacturing sales. Prior was kind of like my career. That company got bought out and did away with my position. And I said, I've never really been overseas, never really just like lived overseas. So I just signed a contract and was an au pair in France, in Dijon, so the heart of Burgundy. And I fell in love with wine. I mean, they drank for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between. And
They really drink for breakfast?
Sometimes, yeah.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And they drink a lot more champagne than we do.
Oh, there's you'll just pull it out for lunch. It was lovely.
Awesome.
So I knew I was in love with wine. Funny story, my cousin, who was 16, said, Hailey, I'm so proud of you. You used to be so wild and party so much in high school, and alcohol is so much a part of your life, and now it's your career. I'm so proud of you. So I've come full circle.
That was a backhanded compliment.
Hey, listen, do what I know.
Yeah, a lot of us, I think, have heard that, right? In this
Yeah.
industry, you have to do what you love.
Yeah, so I came home and knew I was in love with wine, and I loved sales, and I worked with RNDC, so actually I was co-workers with Holly for almost 4 years, and then took the position with Delicato. I always said, kind of like Jackie, when looking to make a career switch, I really want to work for a company that puts their people first and not just their products. And I can 100% say, from selling their products to now working for the company, the interview process, they stand behind that 100%.
Can I ask you about the transition between working for the second largest distributor in the country to now working for the 6th largest winery
Supplier? Yes.
What are some of the differences?
So kind of major differences definitely have been, from the distributor level, Holly and I focus mainly on premise. So that's the restaurants, the event spaces of the world. Now from the supplier level, we're looking at things of how the distributor executes our products and how they get it out to the market and how they, kind of gain market share like that. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment. I really like being in front of customers. So I've jumped on being like, hey, can I get out with the reps? Can I do this? Because that's what I miss the most. And then a huge aspect of the business is obviously the independent retailers and the chains of the world. So the grocery stores, convenience, things like that, and looking at the business as a whole.
Wow. Okay. Awesome transition. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
We've never had anyone on the show
Mm-hmm.
who's been through that sort of transition. So that's a first. Episode 7.
Here I am.
Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Come on, guys. Awesome. And Holly, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
I was just saying, it's another aspect of the business. So we always, in every episode, I feel like we kind of talk about some aspect of the business in a different way. And so this is just another viewpoint or another perspective, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Full education.
Yeah. Now, and also, we've never had someone come from the soda biz
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That is a
transition to the wine biz. That is a new. I want a lot of likes, guys. I want you to smash that like button today. We have Delicato, an amazing success story. Italian family. I'm biased. I'm giving them 6 hours today to talk whatever they want about these products, these fabulous products. Like I said, I did a pre-tasting with them, and I love all these wines. I've never done a pre-tasting before. So that's how much I love these wines.
Well, if we're all kind of Italian, right? We're all tied to it. It's going to take 6 hours. It's not their everything. But.
Hey, Lou, bring in the pasta. Awesome.
There's going to be a lot of hand talking today.
Yeah.
I know it perfectly. I talk a lot with my hands.
That's awesome. So wherever you guys want to start, we can start.
Yeah, Hailey, you want to take it away with Stoneleigh, since I know you're super excited about
Yes,
this
and-
new item.
So the first one we have is Stoneleigh. So like Mike said,
there.
this is
There
a
we
new brand that we have
Okay.
recently just partnered with. It is the #1 Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand. So it's kind of the KC of New Zealand. And it is 100% Sauvignon Blanc out of Marlborough. So what's different about this one is it comes from the northernmost region of the Wairau.
I'm
So
sorry, Allison. I'm sorry. What is KC?
Kim Crawford.
Kim Crawford, guys. Full disclosure.
I won't-
Full disclosure. Why are you mentioning Kim Crawford? for our viewership.
Because I feel like the second somebody says Sauvignon Blanc, and especially New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, that is the number one thing people think of.
It's part of the competitive set, so like people might be familiar with that one. That's certainly one that's well known, and then there are others that are out in the market too that are part of the competitive set. So just kind of giving people an idea of kind of where this fits in. If they like that, they should try this.
Absolutely.
We like to paint the whole picture for our viewership and let them decide. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Whitehaven would be another one that would kind of fall into this category of the competitive set. So what you get out of the northernmost region of the Wairau, you get more warmer climate than you do from the Whitehaven or the Kim Crawford. So you get that grapefruit, you get that lemongrass, which is traditional of New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs, but you get a lot of that white peach, so stone fruit, passion fruit. This is a lot rounder. I like to say it's not as like astringent. You don't get that like kind of pucker up your mouth feel. It gets a little bit more body. The acidity is still very bright on it. It's very crisp, but again, you have a little bit more round mouth feel to it.
This is an aromatic experience. Holly is studying for, what are you studying for now, Holly?
Wine experience. What am I?
I can't even pronounce it. It's so technical, I don't even know. I'm sorry.
It's the WSET diploma.
Okay, so she's studying for something really, really hard.
Yes.
There's an acronym associated with it. That's how you know it's hard.
It's the level below Master of Wine. So that might be a little bit more familiar to some people.
And so we're on this journey with Holly.
Yes.
And we're fully supportive of her. Yes, absolutely. So Holly, I said this was an aromatic experience.
Absolutely.
Would you concur?
Oh, absolutely. The intensity is just jumping through the glass. I mean, you can smell it from, down here. So that right away is an intense aromatic wine. Absolutely. And the mouthfeel, Hailey mentioned the mouthfeel on this, that kind of full sort of texture, especially for a Sauvignon Blanc that isn't common, but it comes from the site itself, right?
Yes, so I can speak a little bit to that. So the reason they call it Stoneleigh is the estate, the property itself. The first layer of soil is actually called sunstone. So it's almost like this cement, gravelly type first layer of soil that really forces the roots down to kind of search for their nutrients, which helps the berries ripen, which provides a lot of that, peach stone fruit to give you that more round mouthfeel.
It does. It's full. Could you say it's full bodied Sauvignon Blanc?
I'd say it's a medium
body
for a Sauvignon
okay.
Blanc. But and that being in perspective, for a Sauvignon Blanc, a medium bodied could be a full bodied Sauvignon Blanc. That makes sense.
Thank you. No, delicious. I'm tasting a lot of value. And I think in our pre-tasting, you guys quoted me on the suggested retail for this, which would be what?
I will let my pricing girl tell you. The price is right. Stay away.
Well, I know the wholesale price. And if we just had 30%, would be what?
So we're looking at about $14.99 on the shelf.
For $14.99, this is a steal. It really is. I think Holly can attest to this.
It's a beautiful wine. I mean, so it's funny. So Sauvignon Blanc, you have people who love and only drink New Zealand style Sauvignon Blancs because of the style of it. Has that bright passion fruit and tropical and gooseberry. And then there are people who love California Sauvignon Blancs because they're a different expression. This is a cooler climate expression. You have warmer climate from California where you have melon and more citrus. And of course, then you have like a Sancerre expression. So from France, different expression, lots of minerality, but very lean, more linear, high acid. So there's like three different expressions of Sauvignon Blanc. This one is really cool because it fits the sort of aromatic profile of a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, but it also has that minerality that you might think of from like a Sancerre, and it has a really nice fuller texture that maybe one might be more used to from like a warmer climate Sauvignon Blanc. So it kind of crosses different styles, right? It encompasses different styles. So for me, this is, so we did an episode on Chardonnay.
Yes.
And I'm a Chardonnay girl.
We learned a lot about Chardonnay.
We did, and so I don't know if I'm a cougar or not. We did talk about cougars and cougar juice, yes. But
can we recap the etymology of that phrase, because I'm still trying to digest it. I got in trouble with my wife that night, but what is cougar juice again, Holly? Just real quickly, quick recap.
Well, where I was going with that is I was going to say I drink Chardonnay, and so sometimes for a Chardonnay drinker, something that has this profile or a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, typical New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc profile, can be a little bit more difficult. The higher acid and some of those aromatic characteristics, it may be not their first preference, right? But this one is just with that fuller mouthfeel. Just try it, people, because it's lovely, and even a Chardonnay drinker can be happy with this because of that mouthfeel.
I poured 2 glasses.
So yeah,
rewind and see 1, 2.
I mean, you really can drink this and enjoy it. So. That's my little plug on this for people who maybe are like, oh, I don't know about a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, try it, especially for all the hot weather patio drinking coming up. But to your question about cougar juice, we do have a Chardonnay here that's next. So it's kind of a good transition into the Chardonnay. And this style of Chardonnay potentially could be considered cougar juice. So it is just a style that has a lot of butter and a lot of full texture and creaminess. It's a oaky, buttery.
We could call it Puma juice. It's not yet a cougar.
Yes, Puma juice.
That was also mentioned in that show.
Oh,
yes,
was it?
It was funny.
I thought I was very...
No man is an island. It's so funny.
So that's why it's like, I don't know if I'm a cougar yet or if I'm a Puma. So anyway, but it's just
cougar, puma, caterpillar, cheetah, tomato. It's good.
It's good. And so so it's just it got a term because Chardonnay really took off in the 80s. I think like there was a lot of people. Chardonnay just like blew up, and it's like still in terms of sales, like the queen of sales. Like Cab is king, but Chardonnay is queen.
Absolutely.
And they're right up there neck and neck in terms of the volume of sales across the country, and so it got this term for the people who tend to drink Chardonnay tend to be a lot. If you look at demographics, it's a lot of women, certainly a lot of men too, but that's kind of where the demographics come from, is that you would see, women maybe in their 40s, 50s, kind of 60s drinking Chardonnay. And there was a lot in the 80s when that took off. And that's where that term kind of comes from. They called it cougar juice.
When I think of cougar juice, I think of did you guys ever watch the show Dynasty?
Yes.
I think of just the women in Dallas sipping on some buttery oaky chard is what I think of when I think
a runway.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, and Hollywood ran with it, and it's there. So some people think of it as a derogatory, negative term. Hey, I'm going to run with it. I'm okay if someone wants to call me a cougar. I'm okay with that. There's worse things they can call me.
Absolutely.
There's worse things they can call me.
Yeah. Well, we'll transition let me do this. Into Black Stallion. So I'll give you guys a little bit of background on Black Stallion. So this is our first winery that the Indelicatos purchased in Napa Valley. Purchased it in 2010 and started growing wine there. It was actually, transitioning animals. It was the last running equestrian center in Napa. It closed down in 1963. So of course, as we all know Napa, we know beautiful land, amazing grapes, sometimes really expensive wines. This is a really approachable kind of style to Napa Valley, a good introduction to this wine. It's located on the Silverado Trail, which is really that iconic area in Napa, in the Oak Knoll district is where our actual winery is. So right at the foot, kind of one of the first wineries that you see. So we're very lucky. We get a lot of kind of foot traffic, people coming in, seeing how beautiful the estate is, and then tasting kind of this wine and experiencing it all together. So I'll let Hailey talk about our Chardonnay, and then we'll also talk about the Cab at the end.
Yeah. So I love this one. I am traditionally, it's already in my glass. That's great. Traditionally not a Chardonnay drinker at all. I think this one kind of bridges the gap between that stainless steel aged. So you get those really bright floral notes and super bright citrusy notes out of stainless steel. And then kind of like the Rombauers of the world that are just that butter, that oak bomb. I think this bridges the gap really nicely between that. It is aged for 10 months in French oak, and 65% of that is new oak. So again, you will, on the nose, you'll get some of that toastiness, some of that vanilla. You can kind of smell it. And then on the palate, again, kind of like the Sauvignon Blanc did, gives you that round, creamy, buttery mouthfeel. But it's not like you're eating a stick of butter.
And I'm sorry, how much new oak do you use? I'm sorry.
65% of that is new oak.
I'm not tasting much oak. Is it me?
It's very well integrated.
It's very well integrated.
Yes.
That's a good point. So this is a very well balanced Chardonnay. You really don't want certain elements like the oak or the alcohol, to be like sticking out and jarring, right? Because then that wine becomes out of balance. So they use a lot of new oak, but it's integrated within the profile and the body and the texture, the acidity, the fruit. We have another visitor today. And so, this is a beautiful wine.
So last episode, someone made a guest appearance, and we're cat lovers here on the show. So if he wants to make another appearance,
Oh, this is the other one now. Okay. So we've got cat number 2 making an appearance.
That's great, but this is a delicious Chardonnay. I think the alcohol is so well balanced too.
Yeah. I think so I know you mentioned loving Italian wines, right? So a big standpoint in Italian wines is how well it goes with food. And that's something we kind of transition as we're tasting through the portfolio, can kind of talk on what food things go with. And that's what I love about this wine. There's nothing that necessarily sticks out too much. So you can eat it with a salad. You can eat it with your grilled meats, kind of like the chickens of the world, pork. And it really will complement a lot of different components in the food too. So I personally, I cook a lot, and I love to start my cooking with a big glass of wine. I think it makes me relax a little, right? You're cooking after a long work day. What I love about this, and it's a little dangerous, is you can have a glass of it while you're cooking. Next thing you know, you're on the second glass and you're still cooking. And by the time you eat your meal, you're just absolutely in heaven enjoying that third glass. So you can really have it on its own, but it holds up against food as well.
So refreshing on the palate. I've honestly never, I don't drink a lot of Chardonnays because I'm a big red wine guy, Aglianico. Not a Puma guy, Aglianico, Primitivo.
Okay.
Montepulciano, Brunello. Hailey knows she has she has all the receipts. She has all the evidence. She has all the evidence. But this is such a refreshing Chardonnay. And I don't even know, was this at the pre-tasting?
It was.
It was?
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, you did say you had half a bottle of the next wine.
I never said I had half a bottle. I said I thoroughly enjoyed this bottle.
And
half of it.
We had like 14 wines.
So you did have 14 wines at the pre-tasting. Where would this Chard be on the price scale?
About the same as the last wine, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
$14.99 to $16, somewhere in that range.
You are getting a tremendous value. This tastes like a premium Chardonnay that I'd spend. You could get $50 out of me for this Chardonnay, honestly.
Yeah. So another big call out is Napa, right? So we talked about how people are so familiar with Napa. Now that weather's improving, so recording this in the springtime, people are visiting how there's homes outside. This is the perfect wine to bring. It's like you mentioned, it's approachable price point, but it also kind of gives you that this is a cool wine. It gives you something to talk about. There's a story associated with it, which we love, right? There's always something great about having a story associated with it.
And how are sales? Because I'm thinking that this should be the top 3 in America. How are sales? I don't know. How are sales?
It does well.
It does well?
It does very well. And especially when people discover it, people stick with it.
There you go.
And I think that that's the key to a good wine, right? You see wines in grocery stores, you see wines on the shelves, but why do people continue to pick it up is that consistency and quality. And we hope that if you do pick up one of our wines and you pick up a 2018 vintage, you stick with it through 2019 and you taste it again, and it's just as good as that first glass that you had in the year prior.
And if we want to talk points, I think this, the fact sheet I have, is this a 90-point chart?
It is. Yeah, consistently we'll be scoring 90 plus points with the Black Stallion.
You see how she just dropped 90 points so slowly, like Steph Curry just on me. Kudos to you. Love it. 90-point shard we just tasted. There aren't too many 90-point shards. Am I right?
No.
Is that kind of fair to say?
Yeah, sure.
There aren't too many 90-point shards out there.
Definitely in this price range, especially.
There you go.
It's a good kind of having that approachable price point, but it's a little bit above. It's not your everyday drinker necessarily. Something a little special in that category.
And it's Napa at that price point, which is crazy.
Yeah.
$15, Napa Valley Shard, 90 points, Black Stallion with a hell of a story. I love horses. It's my Chinese zodiac sign. If anyone cares, smash that like button.
If you are one.
What is your Chinese zodiac sign?
Oh no, what am I? The rooster.
You're the rooster. Hailey.
I think I'm either like a rat or a snake, which are horrible to be.
I think the rat is actually good to be.
Well, I just like, I don't really know.
We'll look it up after the show.
I was going to say, I don't know why. I always like to look it up.
I
How do I find that out?
Right up the top.
That's astrological. That's
I can
astrological.
tell you my astrological. I don't know about Chinese.
No, I don't know. It always stuck with me that my Chinese zodiac sign is a horse, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," because I like horses, And I love the Black Stallion. I feel like this is like a very self-confident, but not
rabbit.
You're a rabbit. Rabbits are good. Rabbits are good.
All right, that's mine.
You're born in 2001, right?
Yeah, I wish. 89.
No, I don't think I could hire you. Can I? I don't know.
2000, you were born. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
2000, exactly. We're in 2021 now. 2020 left a bad impression, of course. Yeah, exactly. But Black Stallion, super delicious. I don't like shards. I just learned what cougar juice is. This is not a cougar juice wine. This is a Napa Valley Shard in Oak Knoll.
Yep.
Not to be confused with Oakville.
Nope.
How far are they away from each other? Because if someone said, "Hey, I'm at the Oakville bar," I would end up going to the Oak Knoll bar.
Southern Napa to mid Napa, not very far. Really, you're talking about a couple miles or so. It's not that much.
So we have two towns. One's Oak Knoll and one's Oakville.
Yep.
Within 2 miles of each other?
A couple miles.
That's so cool. Okay, but this is Oak Knoll, so don't go to Oakville looking for this. They're in Oak Knoll. Okay.
Yeah, we do have some grapes that are grown throughout the Silverado Trail as well as in some of those mountain regions in Napa as well. But our heart and where we're located is in that Oak Knoll district. But I think you said 2 miles. It depends how slow the bus in front of you is driving down Silverado Trail with how quickly you can get there, honestly.
Okay.
And the property is so stunning.
Oh, talk about the winery. Tell our viewership about the winery.
I have been actually before Jackie has been. You haven't been out there, right?
I have been out there. Haven't been out there in a year, but you've had some fun stories
I
there.
actually went with an RNDC trip out there with your boss.
Yes.
And funny, I have to tell a story because I have to throw him under the bus. It's kind of funny. So it's
Tell.
not bad.
Nervous.
It's not bad, I promise. So there's 3 cottages on site. And there was a total of 12 of us, and it was half females, half males. And we get to the first cottage, and it's like farmhouse decor and fresh flowers and all white everything, and just like fresh and beautiful. Well, your boss and some of the other men were like, "This is our cottage." And we were like, "We don't even get to say it. Come on."
That's mean.
So I know, right? So we were like, "Fine, we'll see what the next cottage looks like, but nothing will beat this first one." We get to the second one. It is LeBron James jerseys, Kobe Bryant, pool tables,
baller,
video game console,
man cave,
sound system.
Man cave.
Totally. And I can't tell you how many times they were like,
"Did you claim it?"
Have the other one. We're
you
like,
claimed
"Oh
it?
no, we'll keep this one."
Good for you. Good for you.
And then inside that cottage, there's a cellar, and they're like, "No, seriously, like have access to anything." We had access to their entire library of wines all weekend. And
that's like the ultimate mini bar.
Fun fact, I use this on my trivia nights whenever I do Black Stallion tasting because I'll do a trivia. They obviously are huge into horses, as it was the equestrian center. And actually was the largest indoor equestrian center in the U.S. for a while.
Wow.
But one of their library wines they named after Alexander the Great's horse. Does anyone know his name?
Tom?
That's it.
Pardon?
It's it.
It's Tom? Oh, there you go. Bucephalus. Okay.
So if anybody's ever doing trivia with me and I ask that, you'll know the question.
Tom's my other wine rep.
Tom is.
Holly knows Tom.
I know, we all know Tom.
You all know Tom.
too.
Tom, we're giving you a big shout out. We're sending a lot of love your way, Tom. We're not buying your wine or drinking your wine right now, but that's okay. We will one day. But that's a great story. That is a great story. See, don't be so greedy, guys. Just pick, share or chill.
Share the cottages.
Yeah, share the cottages in Napa.
Yeah, and there's something for everyone there. So always having some exciting stories. But exciting stories, we will talk about Three Finger Jack.
Boom.
Which is our first ride of the night.
I'll pour this.
We know that you
love. Mike loves this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour myself.
Heavy hands, right?
Yes.
So this is our Three Finger Jack Rum Barrel Red Blend. So who's Three Finger Jack? Hailey already asked me this today.
Desperado.
Yeah, exactly. So Three Finger Jack was a cowboy who was beautiful pour. He was a cowboy out in California during the gold rush. Nobody knows how he lost his 3 fingers, or 2 fingers, because he only has 3. We don't know which ones it was, but we know that he enjoyed to have a nice drink while he was out on the trail.
Desperado.
So to talk a little bit about the wine, this wine is from Lodi, California, which we call kind of the belly of the wine
It
world.
stands for Land of Dumb Italians, right?
Yeah. It's weird because that's exactly.
I can say that because I'm Italian, but it does not stand for that. There's a Lodi, New Jersey, where I have an uncle in Lodi, New Jersey, and that is Land of Dumb Italians. But Lodi, California is land of some... I interrupted.
No angry
She's
comments. He's just joking. No angry comments.
It's some amazing juice, and I keep interrupting, but this is some amazing juice and spirit infused. I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut up now.
No, I
Jackie,
love
please.
your passion with this wine.
Thank you.
I absolutely do. So, like you mentioned, it's spirit infused within those rum barrels. So all of our red wine in here is aged on old rum barrels. But to talk a little about Lodi, it is this super, super, super warm climate. It's a lot of sunlight during the year. So you want to kind of counterbalance some of that over-extracted fruit that if you're not balancing it, can be what we call in the industry, and it's a negative term, is a fruit bomb. So
Fruit bomb is a negative term?
it can be at times.
I guess it depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very true. So in a sense, with it being kind of over extracted and big, this gives you a nice round kind of approach to the wine. The number one grape that's grown in Lodi is Zinfandel. The second is Cabernet. So that is the blend that's in here as well, mixed with a few other kind of smaller grapes as component, but aged in giving you kind of, like I like to say, it's like a campfire feel.
Now, so I've learned from the show and from Holly that Cabernet is where the money is.
So Cabernet is where a lot of volume.
A lot of volume
There is, and also some of when we go to our Napa Cab, it is sometimes a little bit more of a delicate grape, a little bit more finesse can go into it, but don't want to ever knock on any of our other grapes because there's always still some.
No, and I'm a huge Zinfandel fan. And I'm not so much a big Cali Cab fan, as you guys know, but you guys always want to talk about Cali Cabs. This is not that show, but we do drink those. But you said Lodi, the number one grape is Zinfandel.
It is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so Zin kind of grows in really difficult climates. When it's super hot, it thrives. It has a little bit of a thicker skin to it, which means that it can kind of absorb some of that heat. And it grows with these gnarly vines that really strive on looking for water and nutrients underground.
Lots of old vines, like 100-year-old vines,
Wow.
and they look like tree trunks.
They're huge.
Yeah, they're really thick, gnarly. Google 100-year-old vine from Lodi, and you'll see this like tree trunk that's all like twisted up. Yeah, it's crazy.
So your other big brand, Gnarly Vines, is that out of Lodi?
Yeah, so Gnarly Head is based out of Lodi, and then we have another brand that also grows a lot of our grapes called 1924. Again, kind of those bigger, rounder, fruitier cabs, whereas once we go to kind of our Napa Cab, you'll see that it has a little bit different structure to it, where it dries your mouth out. The tannins are a little bit more intense. Although that is a component to the grape, it also lends to the winemaking style and how it's aged. So with this on rum barrel, you get a lot of that vanilla kind of taste to it. Like I said, it gives it a little bit of smoky nose because of how it's aged and what it's aged in.
Wow.
But-
And how long has this? So I am familiar with your Three Finger Jack Cabernet Sauvignon,
Yes.
which is delicious. You can find that on casewinelife.com. Free shipping on all orders above $175, and we also have case discounts. Shameless plug. I'm familiar with that one. How long has this one been on the market?
So this is one of our newer wines. Actually, it's been on the market for about 6 months now that you could find it in the store.
Super new, guys. Okay.
Yeah, and this is a new kind of avenue that a lot of wines are kind of going down. Experimenting, if you have a winner, right, with the cab, let's see if we can do something a little bit different that will set us apart when doing a red blend. Or a lot of times we'll see bourbon barrel Cabernets, those two marry very well. So experimenting with new different kind of combos, keeping things exciting for the consumer out there who might not have ever tasted something in a rum barrel that's not rum.
As Holly said earlier, the rum is very well integrated. Do you
absolutely.
agree, Holly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're really not getting, like, some people might think of rum, well, let's say a dark spice rum as maybe being kind of sweet or like
Captain Morgan.
You're not getting sweet. You're getting a lot of spice to this wine. I mean, you're getting the Zinfandel grape characteristics are coming out in this. It's not covered up by rum barrel. You're not just tasting rum barrel, which I find sometimes when you taste some of these spirits aged wines, that maybe that's all you taste is like the spirit. And in this case, the varietal characteristics are coming through. It's a nice wine, and then you do get some of that kind of smokiness too, and spice, and it would be very good with Bozzelli's pizza.
I think it would be great with pizza. And then in my due diligence before this interview, yes, I do prepare for these shows. I read that you guys took a very artisanal approach, and after enjoying this in the pre-tasting and now in this tasting, it's very artisanal. Like, to get the right rum level, is that how you would say it?
Yeah, I think for me at least, like when I think, and a lot of spirit aged wines can sometimes have that molasses, syrupy, really thick, kind of bigger body type feel to it. Whereas this one, I mean, even just looking at it in the glass, tasting it on the palate, I would say is more medium bodied, which having the varietals and it being aged in rum barrels, not something that you would expect. So I think they did a really nice job of really bringing the characteristics forward, but not making it too big, too jammy, too chewy.
Great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a very nice wine on the nose as well.
Yeah.
And kind of holds true. But I guess we can go on to our last one.
If you don't mind, since we discussed price points, where would this be on the price scale for our viewership?
Yeah, we're looking at about $19.99 on the shelf.
A lot of value, guys. $19.99. This would be a crowd pleaser at any patio,
Absolutely.
barbecue, any barbecue, any
barbecue.
pizza party, especially with Memorial Day, July 4th coming up. You're gonna want to buy this by the case. Delicious, a lot of value for $19.99, and you guys don't have to buy any rum because it's got rum in it. Bonfires. Cigar nights are huge. We don't like to promote tobacco smoking on the show, but she just did. But kidding. No, we're epicures. We're epicures. No, we strive to be epicures. If you enjoy something, enjoy it in moderation. Drink responsibly, smoke responsibly. Don't vape because you could be smoking metals. Have you seen that YouTube?
No, I was saying you're reading a lot of articles.
I do like any point of sale you guys give, and your other partner, who amazing family, and I think all companies, I've said this before, top down, RNDC, top 10 place to work in America.
Yeah.
Republic National Distributing Company, top 10 place to work. And Delicato, if you go on YouTube, guys, and you search Delicato, the CEO is also always talking about family values. Join the family. This is a team. I'm not just some CEO in the penthouse apartment, and I called down to Allison to bring me wine. I'm in here. I'm in the trenches with my team. That's what it's about, and that's what I love, and that's why we've given them 6 hours on today's show. And they're also Italian, Siciliano. We grew up with a Sicilian family when I was young. Very fond of of all Italians, of course, because I'm Italian. But okay, that was a big tangent, guys. I just love you guys. Did you? So now we're on to the cab.
Yes. Yeah. Like you mentioned, cab is king, right? We've tasted through all these different amazing wines and exploring. You said your customers oftentimes ask for California, right?
California cabs. California cabs.
Oh,
the number one category.
We have one.
Yeah. So on to Black Stallion Cab. This is actually the first wine that we made in our winery because so many people go to Napa looking for this. What I absolutely love about it, it's approachable, right? It's this like nice, well balanced. You get tannins, and it's been open for, we've been here for 6 hours. No, it's been open for about an hour now, and you really have it kind of showing really well. Have a lot of that fruit.
You would recommend decant for an hour?
I would say open it and let it kind of breathe, even if it's just in your glass, because it's nothing too intense that needs to be aerated. Of course, wine always, especially when it's a little bit bigger, tastes well if you can do that. But that doesn't mean that your everyday consumer doesn't need to pour it in a glass, leave it there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, let it kind of chill out.
It's very important, guys. I hope you're taking notes.
I always
kind of breathe, come together, relax in the glass. Right?
Yeah, it's one of those things when you get home from work, you walk in the door, you sit down, and you feel relieved right away with your first kind of sip and smell or just chilling out. 5 minutes later, you're in this whole different world. And I think that's really important with wine too. You have to approach it the way that you live your lifestyle. So let yourself kind of chill, let the wine chill. Take a second smell. Also, if you're just getting into wine, exploring wine in ways that when you take your first sip, your third sip, and your fifth sip, what the difference is and how it kind of rests a little bit differently on your tongue. Another thing with wine is I think all just took our first sip, right? So you take that second sip, your mouth is already coated with the wine. So you're going to get a different approach to it as well. And you can really appreciate all the different flavor components and kind of mouth texture that goes along with it.
Well, and I often find with the Black Stallion cabs, whether you're drinking this one or the limited or the Gaspare, the transcendent, to your point, they will evolve in the glass. And, maybe when you first open it, you might get a lot of fruit, because that's a cab, right? You're going to get a lot of fruit up front. But it's let it relax and kind of chill for 15 minutes or so, and you're going to start getting more of kind of the softer structure and kind of more of those other characteristics that are so beautiful about cab too. The structure, maybe some more of the spices, or maybe it's leather, or some of these other secondary, tertiary characteristics are going to kind of start coming out a little bit. And that's the beauty of cab. I mean, we talk about decant or not decant. Yes, you could decant. But sometimes I feel like who has time for that, right? Like I don't want to wait around an
Instant
hour for my right.
Boom,
like I don't want to
boom,
wait around for my wine. You talked about coming in the door. Maybe like you're gonna have that glass, so open it and then go change, get comfortable, come back down. So it's been open a little bit, and then you can pour yourself that glass. But a lot, you can enjoy it glass by glass. It will evolve as you're enjoying it. And so to your point, just kind of thinking about it as you do that, and you will start to recognize kind of maybe where the wine's sweet spot is for you. Is it the second glass, or so that's the fun of wine is drinking it and allowing it to evolve and understanding it, because it's a living thing. So yeah.
Totally agree. I think I'm on my fourth glass now, guys. But the first one was tannic, because we had drank a red blend right before that, so there was less mouthfeel. And the first glass was tannic. The first sippy sip was tannic, to use Gary V's term. Shouts to Gary V. But then my second glass, it became much more approachable, to use Jackie's terminology, much more approachable. And this wine, to kind of reflect what Holly just spoke about, really is an experience. To be fair to this wine, is really an experience. And I don't know if I would barbecue with this wine, Holly. What would you what would you pair with this wine?
You certainly could put a steak on the grill,
Okay.
whether it's a flank steak or
I was thinking burgers. I wouldn't do burgers.
Absolutely.
You would do burgers.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
One of my favorite combos is actually having a wine that is a little bit more complex and then just having such a basic food to it, because you get to really appreciate. People always say you have to have a steak with it.
Yeah.
How often am I putting a steak on the grill? I don't have a grill. But you can always put a burger in a pan and cook it up.
Or, put a flank steak under the broiler, something simple, inexpensive, just, so yeah, I mean, you can, explore your pairings with Cabernet. If you're a vegetarian, certainly something like a portobello mushroom, would work really well with this. Something that's kind of meaty, would work well. Grilled vegetables. I mean, we keep going back to the grill, but getting that kind of char, on vegetables, you could certainly have that with a Cabernet too, I think.
This wine really makes me want to run. How far is like Giant or Safeway to get some
not far.
some sharp cheese, some Romano, Asiago, any kind of sharp cheese.
Sharp cheeses and Cabernet or like an aged cheese will absolutely work, really well with.
This is an experience, people. If you have a big meeting or something, this is an experience to share. I really enjoy everything I've had from Black Stallion. I feel like they're just like the sleeper kind of killer company, just comes out of nowhere, and just like you said, you try them and you're loyal to them.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely family, right?
Family,
that's what it is.
Family,
and the wines. Look, that's the beauty of I think with the family wine, right? You get a family wine, you get history and culture, you get a story. And you have wines that are affordable and accessible to everybody. I mean, I think Italians understand that the best. I mean, Italians want wines to be accessible on the dinner table every night, right? So you have a price point that allows people to do that and enjoy it, no matter where you come from. And then, with the Black Stallion lineup, we certainly do have wines that are more luxury. They're not maybe for every day unless you're, super wealthy.
I just want to relate. So I am Italian.
But,
I am Italian. Are you first generation?
No, I'm third generation.
Wow, you've been here for a long time.
Second generation, but not Italian. Sorry.
Okay. So what is your ethnicity?
I'm German.
German, awesome. Okay, welcome to America. Allison. I'm sorry. Hailey Allison. 2 first names, really cool, like George Michael. Her full name, it's like super cool. I've always wanted that. I'm Mike Bozzelli. She's Hailey Allison. That's like so cool.
Do you want to know a secret?
Like George Michael.
That's actually just my middle name. I just don't want weird people finding me on Facebook.
Okay, weird people on Facebook, leave her alone. You got to go through me and Holly. Okay, leave her alone. She's very
gotta
nice.
go through the Italians.
And I'm just super waspy, unfortunately. I have no cool backstory.
She's very sweet and super waspy at the same time.
That's good. My other half is very waspy too. We're actually Mayflower direct descendants of Roger Williams.
Wow, Roger Williams.
I'm the 14th generation Roger Williams descendant.
Wow.
Founder of Rhode Island.
I'm banking on Kia and I working out to have like a cool little
diversity,
some diverse background family.
But I really get the Italian vibe in all these wines for some reason. And none of them have any Italian branding or any Italian messaging besides the company being run by Indelicato.
There is a sensibility to these wines.
That is so awesome. Yeah. But I will relate one anecdote. So my dad gave me $20 when I was a kid to go to the mall. And I all the kids went and got pizza, went to the arcade and got cotton candy or whatever. And I didn't spend my money. And so I went back to my dad and I didn't even eat anything. And I went back to my dad. I said, "Look, Dad, I didn't spend my $20." And he says, "What are you, an idiot?" He said, "What? Did you eat anything?" I said, "No, Dad, I didn't want to spend any money." He said, "Food goes in your body. We eat to live. We don't live. No, we live to eat. We don't eat to live. Food goes in your body. Wine is a food." And at these price points, from this Italian family that really takes pride in what they produce, and really, and a lot of training goes into their brand ambassadors. I know that I really get that sense from the Delicato Fine Wine Family. Is it Delicato Fine Wines or
Delicato Family Wines.
Delicato Family? They even took fine out of the whole company name. Like, we don't need to be fine. We just need to be
You have to
family.
be a family.
We just have to. That is so cool. Because if you look at other wineries, they're like XYZ Fine Wines,
Yes.
BBB Fine Wines,
Yes.
da 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 Fine Wines. They're Delicato Family Wines. That is really cool. That is really cool. We want to highlight that on this show. Smash that like button, subscribe. All these wines will be available on casewinelife.com. Dan, the beer guy, who's not here today, we really miss him, but he's got to order a couple big orders to get out for us for our wine shipping site. It really believes in this Sauvignon Blanc, by the way.
Oh, that one is also 100% sustainable and vegan.
Vegan, 100% sustainable. If you didn't know, so everyone's like, oh, it comes from grapes. Is it automatically vegan? No, a lot of wineries use fining agents that use animal byproducts in the wine. This is 100% vegan, which is totally cool. I was a vegan for a long time, but now I'm just vegetarian because I love cheese. But Dan, the beer guy, really believes in this Sauvignon Blanc. And I even had a conversation with him the other day. I was like, why are you ordering this? And he's like, Mike, I believe in this Sauvignon Blanc. I don't know why. I mean, it's the number one Sauvignon Blanc in New Zealand. And Delicato is an amazing family company. Holly believes in it too.
It's going to take off. It's going to be big.
Holly believes in it too. And it's been very well received.
Those crazy
initially.
Kiwis know something, and they drink a lot of it.
There you go. And so we just want to share wines with you that we love. If you don't want to buy them from us, we don't care. But we would appreciate it if you did at casewinelife.com, where we have free shipping on all orders over $175, and we have case discounts. Go to casewinelife.com for that. And I think this was another slam dunk episode 7. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for introducing us to the whole Delicato family. It was amazing. I hope this gets back to them. And we really appreciate all they do and all the people they employ in California. Huge workforce, really amazing. They have female brand ambassadors, which is awesome. And just a great company. And thank you, Holly, for opening up your house again to us. Yeah. We're on George Washington's estate right now, everyone. Nothing to sneeze at. This is very expensive real estate. If you want the address, it's 12345 Airport Road. 12345 Airport Road. There you go. If you want to send an Uber out here, I might need one because I'm going to enjoy all these wines after this episode. I had a pre-tasting, a tasting, then we're going to do a post-tasting. Holly's got a big meeting. I got to cut this episode short. But thank you guys. If you want to plug anyone or plug something, feel free to do so now.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. This was a lot of fun. I had a great time kind of tasting through wines with everybody. Like you said, Mike, if there's anything that anybody needs, go hit his website up. He has a great selection, bunch of new stuff kind of getting in there all the time. So really excited to be partners with you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. And Hailey, Allison?
Yes.
Would you like to plug anyone or say hello? Or?
No, I'm just, super thankful that I got to do this. And, I'm really pumped about my job and working for Delicato because I truly believe in what they do and as a company. And I'm passionate about the wines that they produce that, palatable, consumer friendly, just brings people together.
Yeah.
Brings people together. That's awesome. Holly, do we need to mention anything? You're super busy. Holly's a legend. Perennial special guest on Bozzelli's TV, was instrumental in the launch of our show. Super loyal. Anything you're working on or that viewership needs to be aware of?
Just go check out casewinelife.com.
Awesome.
And
order all the wine.
Keep drinking.
Wines. Keep drinking. Yeah,
Responsibly.
absolutely.
Cheers.
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 Nothing in glass.
Hailey gulped hers before the toast.
Yeah.
It's okay. Salud. Thank you for watching.
Salud.
Subscribe, like, comment, smash that like button. Love you.